Hey guys, welcome back to AFK Journey. In today's video, we have a treat. We've got Barry Gaming. What's the new channel called, dude?
It's actually called Barry Gaming AFK Journey. Just kept it nice, easy.
Okay, that's very easy. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. We're going to be talking about Alsa and Soren and saving summons. They are only a couple days away. I have personally been saving. I want to get Barry's take on it and also talk about what we know so far about their kid, have a bit of speculation and a bit of fun around it. Once again, go show Barry some love. We've known each other for probably, I'd say, 3 to 4 years. You were playing Idle Heroes and I was playing AFK Arena.
Time.
Yeah, so absolute great bloke, just a genuine nice guy in the community to have around. So go show him some love, please. But let's get into the main topic of this video. And also, guys, if there's anyone else you want me to get on the channel, have a video with, I've got one lined up with MTashed. I'm going to try and get Zebo on as well. If there's anyone else that you guys, want, please let me know. But Barry, is there anything else I forgot about you that you want to let everyone know?
No, man, I'm having blast with this game. I've been like eagerly awaiting it, and I'm playing it, of course, spending. I'm playing it completely free to play. I'm actually going to be starting a brand new series with this new hero coming out. I always like doing some weird, funny accounts. We're going to be making a Mauler meme team where we try to do as much as possible with only Mauler heroes, including these new heroes.
Yeah, to be fair, best option you could go with probably if you're doing a solo faction. And yeah, like people who watch me in AFK Arena, they know I love nothing more than starting new accounts. It is so fun, the early game in this, but that's also what
the best part of the game.
That's also what I'm really looking forward to with the seasons is it feels like starting over. So I can't wait for the seasons to start and see how that feeling is, whether it feels like I'm starting a fresh account or whether it's something like, I don't know. I'm just keen to see, jump in, test all the systems, see all the game modes and stuff like that. But let's get in.
Same way.
Let's get into the topic. Now, I am saving, as you guys can see on my account here, I'm up to 8,000 diamonds saved. I am just saving until they drop. Now, the reason I am saving as free to play, I'm not going to be able to get like a max dupe Alsa based on these savings. But I think she is one of those characters that has the possibility of being viable at a single copy. Yeah. And that's why I'm saving. And it's not the end of the world if you don't save. Or you do save, it's up to you completely. But I think she's just one of those ones that has that unique kit where I think she might be viable at one copy. And I want to be able to get that copy and test it for you guys and see. What's your thoughts on that, Barry?
No, definitely. And on top of that, you got to remember, you got a whole month pretty much, this like 3 weeks or so that the hero is going to be on the raid up banner. So you're going to probably get plenty of diamonds. There's going to be plenty of events going on during this too. And she definitely seems like a very unique character. Manipulating the battlefield is stronger than I think a lot of people think.
Yeah, and for me, like, it was hard when I started the account to go for Vala because even though I really like Vala, she's amazing in Arena. She's also a great tech unit in campaign, but she doesn't need to be maxed to use her campaign usage, which is energy denial to a back row. And so she was like that awkward one where I didn't feel the need to go ahead and summon for her because then you're also limiting the amount of A-level characters you can get on a new account. Then we had Florabelle, who was kind of like that unit that was basically just doing the same thing as Cecilia. Whether it's a little bit better or a little bit worse is debatable, but in general, it's the same thing, and everyone's already had their Cecilia sorted. But now with Alsa, I feel like she just brings something to the table. And the thing that I noticed most and I want to bring to attention is the way her pillar works, because looking at this footage, let me know if you had the same takeaway. This looks like the complete start of a battle.
Correct. So it looks like it's the very beginning, and one thing that it doesn't really show in the video, but I really slowed down when I broke this down, it looks like each pillar has durability to it. I don't know if you've taken it frame by frame, but it looks like it has like 3 durability, much like how Igor's, just like his little cemetery, little tombstones, and it blocks some damage. And then it stays on the battlefield to manipulate movement. However, they can do damage through it still.
Yeah, so what my thought is, the thing that caught me out was in this presentation when Dolly says it blocks attacks. And then when we get to the point where we have the 2 Odies, they shoot straight, even this one, you can see the Odie shooting straight through it. Now, I don't know whether that's a bug in the build that they're demonstrating, because I don't know why she would say it blocks attacks if it doesn't block attacks.
So here's my take on this. Odie has a triple tap ability that hits 3 times. The first time you see it in game, like it's just a solo Odie, it looks like the wall comes up, those stones come up right as he's doing his triple tap. So what's happening is the first attack is getting through, the second 2 are getting blocked, and then on his next triple tap he did, the first one gets blocked and the other ones get through. If you notice the way the damage is going through.
So that one went through.
See how they have that durability right there, that white durability bar? Yep. So it looks like the first one got through and then the other hits got blocked, and then potentially
it's tough to see.
It's hard to tell, and again, it could just be a bug, it could just be a bad build that they were using, but like it looks like it can block 3 instances of damage, maybe.
Yeah.
But then it stays there and manipulates movement, even if it doesn't have durability.
Yeah, the thing for me is when it has those durability, it looks like it's meant to get hit, but it also, what's the point in having durability if attacks go straight through it? So that's exactly the weird thing. So I'm waiting to see how it actually functions, but I think we can agree that she does her spirit bomb at the very start of battle. Like this is undoubtedly the start of the battle because everyone's in idle positions. Valen is at the back, then he starts running. So this is the very start of battle. So
nobody has anything.
Yeah, so she's going to cast that at the very start, and I feel like this can be really good to disrupt positions and stuff like that of enemy characters at the start of battle, and that's where I think she has her 1 copy viability.
Oh, definitely, and something like this can help like steer Shakir, like enemy Shakirs, in the right direction towards your tanks. Because you know some of those waves that have Shakir and stuff, it's like no matter what you do, no matter how you place your tanks or something, somehow they always get around you. And if you can put something up that potentially protects your back line, that's just even better.
Yep. And then the next thing that we have on her, now I believe her survivability, from my understanding of the way they worded it, is that her survivability is going to be locked behind her exclusive equipment. So this is when we look to the further investment. But when we look at base investment, her ultimate having control as well is going to be really nice. And I'm curious to see how her damage scales on the effect where when an enemy's been controlled recently, like they get the rocks drop. I'm curious to see how that scales.
Yeah, if it's a big bomb or if it's just a little hit. The only thing I'm afraid of with this hero is the first ultimate she does. It looks like she does that charge, she does the stun or whatever it is, but then she stops and she's right where she is. Whereas I think the second and further subsequent ultimates, she bounces back onto her side of the battlefield to keep her a little more safe. I couldn't tell exactly what was going on. Like right there, she just hits and she's now a mage in melee range, which a lot of times I don't like.
Yeah, and my understanding is this is where it could be the fall down of the 1 copy usage of her, in that the passive from her exclusive equipment, where if she takes a large amount of damage, she teleports and gets a shield. That would make it not an issue because she can slam in there, stay in there, and then teleport out when she takes a big damage. But once again, we'll have to wait and see. Also, the cooldown on that ability, when we look at her at Mythic Plus, is going to be a big thing on how often she can actually proc the teleports. I think that's going to be another key thing to look at. But yeah, and there you go. That was that one where she sort of rolled in and rolled back. It was a different style of ult, but she obviously gets her enhanced method there. So yeah, I'm definitely keen to see how it works. But like I said, I'm saving up just to get that 1 copy. I mean, for other people, I recommend waiting to see as people test a single copy to see if it is viable. But for me, it's just something that I personally want to test. So I'm going to go ahead and save up for her, and hopefully she's decent. And if she's good enough, hey, then I start saving. And this is what I always say with new characters. If they drop and you don't have any diamonds to summon for them, but they're really good and you've got a decent roster, because most people who started at Global now have a okay roster of characters. And if then you want to start saving your normal summons and your epic summons to maybe go for her once she goes onto the wish list and then pump all your diamonds in, that becomes an option. But once again, it depends how useful we find her to be and how she goes. Now, where do you think her main usage is going to be? I'm curious to see what your thoughts are.
Man, honestly, I guess it really depends on what quality. I think immediately, if we're talking like endgame and stuff, chances are you're probably going to need that Mythic Plus just for like that viability, the survivability portion. Because I mean, you look at most of these endgame game modes, there's a lot of incoming damage. However, this control can be really good. It really depends, I think, on what heroes she kind of synergized best with. Anybody who's control oriented, of course, is going to be absolutely amazing, because again, we have to see what that burst damage is like when she does her big AoE. And the nice thing I like about her AoE is it's not the unit has to be controlled right now. It simply has been controlled. We just have to see what that time frame is.
Yeah, and you can see when she does her control effects, it puts the rocks on top of them, and then it drops. So you'll see here, I don't know how long it lasts for, but you'll see the Odie, he goes ahead and he gets some rocks on his head, and that is there. That is the timer. So I don't know whether it's a simultaneous thing, whether it's on a cooldown. We'll have to wait and see exactly how it works. Yeah. But my anticipation for her is where I think she could have viability in a meta sense would be Trial of Abyss, provided this different pathing and stuff works the way we think it does. If it actually blocks attacks, then it'd be absolutely huge for it. And the other place is going to be Arena. Now, bossing, I don't see it unless she somehow scales damage phenomenally, but I feel like characters like this that have a lot of added utility, they often lack in a damage sense, but that will come down to testing, obviously.
Yeah, and the other thing too with her rock abilities, like you said, even if you are going on those endgame game modes, one copy might be great because you know how many battlefields there are that have very tight openings, and maybe you're using your Cessia strategy where you're just trying to wait and buy time to get that ultimate combo off. She might be able to completely block a wall off, leaving all the enemy melee heroes just standing there waiting for the wall to go away, or breaking it, or however it ends up being kind of implemented.
Yeah, so I definitely think she's going to be a fun one to test, even if she isn't the best, but looking forward to testing her nonetheless. So let's jump into Soren. Now, for me, I feel like Soren is lacking a little bit. There's two aspects to him that I don't like. One, he does the whole knockback thing where if they hit another enemy or they hit an obstacle, they get stunned. I really wish the enemy that they hit would also get stunned. That would make it a much stronger ability. But you can see in that one, when he knocks the Iron into Parisa does not get stunned. So that means you're very limited on that capacity. Then his ultimate does the same thing, but once again, he's going to do an AoE ultimate, but it's only enemies that he hits and then knocks them into something that are going to get the stun. And so when I compare that to something like a Cecilia, who has a nice big AoE range, his AoE range is tighter and hers is guaranteed to stun enemies that she hits. Obviously, it's a much more nuanced conversation than that, but when you look at raw control capabilities, I feel like it's kind of lacking. And the other thing with him is that when I'm pretty sure it's his exclusive equipment, that when he drops low, he heals, but it looks like a very, very small heal over time, which, as you know from playing these style of games, as you get further
doesn't
in,
usually work.
A small heal over time is often not enough. Like a burst heal is more valuable. Now, some people may go, yeah, but what about Smokey? Smokey also has the burst heal on his ultimate that gets you above those dangerous breakpoints as well. So he has kind of both. But you can see here, now he's healing, and it is very slow ticking healing that isn't moving his bar super fast. So I would have preferred...
Well, it almost looked like he had some life drain too. It almost looked like he had life drain before he used that ability there. Interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, he could have stats in it, but yeah, I just feel like that isn't enough. Now, the thing that could make this guy crazy, it depends on the ability where if he takes more than 10% of his max health in damage, he launches his attack, which can then stun an enemy. The cooldown on that is going to be the biggest thing I need to see in his kit to find out whether I think he's going to have the viability. Because if that
for sure, the one thing the one thing cool with it too is if it is a very short cooldown on that, you're kind of watching him on probably his worst map right here in the preview. How many maps have all these different walls and all these different places? And yes, he's only hitting them back like one tile. And like you said, the combo too, you're not necessarily stunning the one in the back. The one thing we'll have to see is if Parisa was to hit the wall or the back of the arena, does that then stun her? Because we don't know if that's
happens. A great point. Yeah, if you can then manipulate that to go even further, then that would be fantastic. But yeah, the with his basically the damage mitigation one, the 10% thing, where then he launches an extra attack which doesn't affect the cooldown of that attack, that could really snowball at a low cooldown. But if it's like a 6+ second cooldown, I feel like it's just not going to have enough for him. And then literally the rest of it comes down to his damage output. But once again, because he's one of those characters that does have a pretty high amount of quote unquote utility in his kit, being self-survivability, self-healing, and then control, I don't know if he's going to have the raw damage numbers to compete with something like a Smokey or a Merrily. I mean, having said that, you look at Corrin, and Corrin's got mad damage and he's massively supportive. So, it could go either way.
Well, that was the thing I was gonna say. The first thing I saw when I saw him, I'm like, oh, that's just Corrin, but he's in the Mauler. And then it's like, well, it's a little bit different. He's more control oriented, more pushback oriented. Corrin, I mean, again, we didn't get to see the full skills, and I know why they did that, because they wanted to make sure they didn't release early information and then change it by the time launch happened. So they kept everything the light version, which frustrating, but I can understand why. We have to see if there is any type of damage scaling in his kit at all, because again, that's why Corrin's good. When he gets to Mythic Plus, he just shoots through the roof in damage.
Yeah, once you start dealing true damage, it's like GG's. But yeah, that's my general thoughts around them. I'm curious to see, who are you more excited for out of these two units?
I mean, honestly, I'm hoping that he's actually very viable. I want to see as many A-level heroes be viable in as many game modes as possible for as long as possible. I think that's probably the most healthy thing for the game, and I'm hoping Soren's good. I love the way he looks. I love the staff wielding type situation. And like I said, if you find some certain maps that have like tons of walls everywhere, and if that cooldown is low enough, he might just be constantly CCing the entire enemy team.
Yeah, and I agree with you in wanting A levels to be good. But I want Graveborn A levels to come into the game that are good. I'm feeling too sweaty on the A level maulers at the moment, and I don't need another one to be like top tier. That now I have to try and find whether I put that one on my wish list.
I'm never gonna get to Seth. I'm never gonna get to Seth at this point.
Dude, I love Seth, and I want to build him just for fun. But he's just never gonna get that priority. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But I'm the thing I'm most excited about with these characters is definitely Alsa and the way they are using core mechanics of the game, like barriers, and implementing them into characters kits. I think that's like a really good thing, promising thing for the future. Like I've said before, it'd be cool to see them make characters that have maybe a turret, and then they put the turret on the field and you can manually control that turret's firing. It's got a cooldown. Like something like that I think would be really cool to see. Maybe a character that has a bunch of explosive kegs that they throw all over and then you can control when they explode. Just those core mechanics that they have in the game, implementing them into characters so you can play them not just in those like training drills and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's something to kind of double down on these new type of effects they have in this game that you really don't see in a lot of other games. I mean, like manipulating the battlefield like this, I haven't seen it in any idle mobile gacha, anything like that in quite a while. That wasn't like a first person type game. And if they can continue to make more unique heroes like this, I think it's just going to enhance the game much more instead of just bland, okay, they get X damage, they do an AoE, they stun, here's your kit.
Yeah, I completely agree. So that is pretty much everything I wanted to go through in this one. Do you have anything else that you want to add?
No, that covered pretty much everything. I think both of them have a potential being really good. Alsa, again, if she can be a one copy hero like her, Brutus, man, there's just, if she's a one copy hero, it's hard to say anything but Mauler is just like the best.
100%.
Really.
Listen, I'm not going to lie. I always do this anytime I jump on a call with anyone. I end up having a dead battery in my headset, so I've just lost you for a sec. I'm so bad. Literally, I've been standing here for the last 5 minutes. It's been beeping, going low battery, and I'm like, oh shit, just lost, didn't make it. But yeah, keep going. I'm back now.
Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, no, I'm just really hoping that if Alsa is that like one hero copy that has usability, it's gonna be hard to argue anything but Maulers is just like the best faction right now between support heroes, damage dealers, and I'm hoping in the future seasons. I'm hoping in future seasons almost every faction gets a little treatment like this so that each one gets propped up a little bit more and they get things maybe that they're missing. A Graveborn healer maybe, please.
Yeah, dude.
Please.
Dude, we wanted a Graveborn healer for about, I reckon, what was that, like 3 years in AFK Arena until they brought out Silas. It was insane. I don't want to live through that again. But yeah, like, and I hope this patch is not just a Mauler patch. I hope we get other factions in this patch. I don't.
We have to.
Yeah,
we have
surely.
To, because I mean, they're not gonna have one hero in 4 months. It's probably gonna be still another hero every month, but it's not gonna be like an A level as well. I don't imagine.
Yeah. So like AFK Arena, for instance, they do a character every 2 weeks on average. So I'm curious to see if they ramp it up to that. But obviously, if they're doing 2 characters in one patch, you know, once every 4 weeks makes sense.
You can take your time.
So we'll have to see how it evens out. But in general, I mean, I'm excited for the season. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens, looking forward to see these characters. And I just hope it's going to be that like refreshed experience in a game where it feels like starting over again, but you're actually just in a new zone. I think it's going to be cool with the re-leveling and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm happy about seasonal content too, because the biggest problem with every one of these games we play is the power creep, the system on top of system, and if you just keep compiling them faster and faster, the game quickly gets out of control, and it's almost like you don't even know what you're looking at, especially as a new player. So this is a really cool system. You'll be able to revisit it any of the seasons that you did miss, so if you're watching this like a year later, you can come back and actually play what we're about to start in the season coming up this week.
Yeah, and I think, and like you said, I think it's really nice that when you look at the power creep systems, I wanted to touch on something else that brought to my attention is the way they're handling the quote unquote end game at the moment with like arena being balanced leveling and stuff like that. That's something like in AFK Arena. In the challenger mode arena, which is the three teams versus three teams, we have some balancing, but I like that your standard arena like starts equalizing levels once you get to champion and stuff like that as well. So I think they're doing a nice healthy balance for this game that obviously any gacha game is going to be pay to win, but it feels a little bit less invasive than some of the other games.
Yeah, definitely. And on top of that, I think one of my biggest concerns was the actual your resonance level. When they came right at the end of the beta, the PTR to live, they released the cap over 240. And I was like, oh no, this is going to be indefinite leveling. But they actually did a really cool thing, making level 300 essentially the stat cap for the time being, and adding proficiency into it instead. That does still matter. Your resonance level does matter, but you're not going to see these stat levels just go through the roof and get out of control.
Yep. And that's something when you see people pushing above those levels in Abyss and stuff, and their team power is higher than the enemy team power, it's not the same as when you're progressing through a game. I saw so many comments on that from people. It's like, no. This is just like the proficiency thing, which is kind of broken at the moment. When you're pushing those deficits, like the 150, 200 level deficits, it is still a hard push. Just because your team power looks higher than the enemy team power, it's like a visual bug. Just think of it like that. Yeah. Because a lot of people are like, oh, what? This dude's higher power. How is he losing? And I'm like, dude, you have no idea. This shit's hard.
Definitely.
But yeah, and I think that just about wraps it up. Once again, guys, go check out Barry's channel. Show these guys some love. Like I said, absolute great bloke, makes great content, and just another great one to have in the scene. And if there's anyone else you guys want me to get on, I love doing these type of videos. They're honestly the ones I enjoy the most. I just have fun doing this shit. So let me know. Any last words, Barry?
Nah, man, appreciate you coming on and everything. I know we did this back in the AFK Arena days when I played it for a little bit too on my second channel, and I'm just excited for AFK Journey. People are like, do you think the game's gonna last? I'm like, with the budget they're putting into this, the marketing they're putting into this, the quality, we got a game for a very long time, and with the season effects, it's probably gonna feel like it lasts even longer before that power creep comes in, which is exactly what I was looking for.
100%. It's just, and then we just got to see the timing of the seasons, whether we feel like we got a dead area at the end, like in the last 2 months of the season. Yeah. I hope they can balance it out pretty well, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. But yeah, guys, that is going to be it for this one. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and we'll look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.